Every story begins with a heartbeat, a whisper of hope, a trace of pain, a memory that refuses to fade. Here, we tell stories that move you. Tales of love, of loss, of courage and redemption. Because every scar hides a lesson. Every goodbye carries a truth. And every broken heart still beats for something greater. This is where stories find a home, and hearts find healing. Welcome to Heart of the Stories, where every heartbeat tells a tale.
Amelia was only a few months old when the Thompsons found her. A wealthy couple, David and Margaret Thompson, who lived in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia. For years they had prayed for a child, cried through failed IVF treatments, and watched hope fade like the evening sun. Then came Amelia. She wasn't born from Margaret's womb, but from her heart. Margaret held her like she was a miracle, feeding her at midnight, singing lullabies, dressing her in silk ribbons and lace. David built her a nursery painted in golden yellow and clouds, whispering, "You're the sunshine we've been waiting for." Amelia grew up believing she was the most loved girl in the world. She called them Mom and Dad, and they called her their angel. She was bright, top of her class, soft-spoken, full of laughter. The Thompsons took her everywhere: family vacations, fancy dinners, Christmas photos with matching pajamas. She never felt different. Never. When Amelia turned 10, her mother started acting strange. Morning sickness, mood swings, whispered conversations with her husband. Then one evening, Margaret called Amelia into her room, smiling through tears. "Sweetheart, Mommy's going to have a baby." A baby. Amelia smiled. She didn't understand what that meant. She thought it meant family, love, a sister to play with. And for a while, it was that. Margaret would still kiss Amelia's forehead, still brush her hair before school, still call her my darling girl. But soon, everything started to shift. Little things, subtle things. Margaret became too tired to help with homework, too busy preparing the nursery, too focused on the baby. When the baby, Lily, arrived, the house overflowed with joy. Everyone came to see the miracle baby. Amelia stood in the corner, clutching her teddy bear, smiling through her confusion. As the years passed, the warmth Amelia once knew turned cold. She started noticing how her mother's gaze changed, how her father's laughter never included her name anymore. At the dinner table, Lily would sit on Margaret's lap, eating from her plate, while Amelia sat quietly, invisible. When guests came, Margaret would proudly say, "This is Lily, our beautiful daughter." And sometimes when Amelia stood beside them, they'd say, "Oh, and this is Amelia, our adopted one." That word cut deeper than anything else. Adopted. The reminder that she didn't belong. By the time Lily turned 5, Amelia was 15. Beautiful, graceful, smart, but no longer seen. Her chores grew heavier: laundry, dishes, cooking, cleaning. Margaret would snap, greater than, "Amelia, clean up your sister's mess." "Amelia, don't talk back. Be grateful we took you in." Sometimes when Lily broke something, they'd still blame Amelia. Sometimes her mother would look at her and say, "You're lucky we didn't leave you where we found you." Those words stayed with her. They broke something inside her that love once healed. One afternoon, Amelia came home with an award, Top Student of the Year. Her school principal had praised her for being a shining example of determination and grace. She ran home, hoping her mother would be proud. But Margaret was too busy dressing Lily for a dance recital. Greater than, "Can't you see I'm busy? Go keep it somewhere. We'll look later." That night, she sat in her room, holding the award against her chest, whispering, "You used to love me like this meant something." A week later, while cleaning the attic, Amelia found a small envelope, old and sealed, with her name written on it. It was a letter from her biological mother. Her hands trembled as she read, "My little girl, I couldn't give you the life you deserve, but I hope you grow up loved and safe. I hope you find a family that treats you like their own." Tears rolled down Amelia's face. Her mother's wish had come true. Once, but not anymore. That night, she walked into the living room holding the letter. Greater than Mom, did you ever love me? Or was it just until Lily came? Margaret froze. Greater than Amelia, don't start. Greater than, you said I was your miracle, but now I'm your mistake. David stood silent. Lily stared, confused, and for the first time, Margaret's eyes filled with guilt, but her pride wouldn't let it show. You're ungrateful, Amelia. We gave you everything. No, Amelia whispered. You gave me love, and then you took it back. She turned away, walking toward her room, the only space left where she could still breathe. Years passed. Amelia grew up, graduated high school with honors, and left for college on a full scholarship. She never looked back, not out of hate, but out of self-preservation. One day, she wrote a letter to Margaret. Thank you for the years you loved me. Thank you for showing me what love should be, and what it should never become. I've learned that family isn't just blood, it's who stays when the world turns cold. Margaret read that letter in silence, and for the first time in years, she cried.
Amelia left home on a cold morning, just a backpack and a heart too heavy for her age. No goodbyes, no hugs, just silence. She didn't know where she was going, only that she couldn't stay. Margaret watched from the upstairs window, her arms folded, face unreadable. David asked, "Do you think she'll be okay?" Margaret replied sharply, "She'll come back. She has nowhere else to go." But Amelia never did. Days passed, weeks passed, months slipped into years, and every night, Margaret would glance at the dinner table, the empty chair where Amelia once Saturday. She pretended not to care, but guilt ate her slowly, like rust on metal. Amelia's first nights alone were harsh. She worked part-time in a bakery, slept in a small rented room behind a church. There were nights she went hungry, but never hopeless. She held on to one truth. I may have lost a home, but I haven't lost myself. Eventually, she got a scholarship to study sociology at a prestigious university. Her grades were outstanding. She became known as the girl who smiled through pain. One of her professors, Professor Williams, took notice. He was a kind man in his 50s, wealthy, respected, but humble. He had 3 sons and no daughters. He saw something in Amelia, a quiet strength, a spark of brilliance. One evening, he called her to his office. Is greater than Amelia. You remind me of what compassion should look like. You're welcome in my home anytime. It started with dinner invitations, then holidays, then, eventually, a permanent place in his heart and home. His wife, gentle and warm, called her sweetheart. Oh, his sons treated her like a sister except one. His name was Nathan Williams, the eldest son, a successful businessman, kind-eyed and calm. He admired Amelia's intelligence, but even more, her humility. She didn't talk much about her past, but he could see the shadows behind her smile. Over time, those shadows faded in his presence. They became friends, then best friends, then something deeper, something neither could deny. Professor Williams was delighted. Is greater than, if there's anyone I'd trust with my daughter, it's my own son. For the first time in her life, Amelia felt what love truly meant, not earned, not conditional, not taken away. 2 years after Amelia's graduation, fate crossed paths again. She was visiting her former university to deliver a motivational talk on overcoming the odds. After the session, she stepped out into the sunlight and froze. Standing right there, holding admission papers, was Lily. They locked eyes, the world stood still. Lily blinked twice, tears already forming. Is greater than Amelia? Lily? For a moment, both of them were speechless. Then Lily ran to her, hugging her tightly. Is greater than, I've missed you so much. I'm so sorry for everything. Amelia's heart softened. Lily was no longer a child, she was grown, with the same innocent eyes Amelia once protected. They exchanged contacts. They talked for hours. Through Lily, Amelia learned that her parents had changed, or at least were trying to. Days later, her phone started ringing constantly. Unknown number, but she knew who it was. Margaret, David. They left voicemails, trembling voices filled with guilt. Is greater than Amelia. Please, come home. We just want to see you. We made mistakes, sweetheart. Terrible mistakes. But she couldn't bring herself to answer. Every time she heard Margaret's voice, her heart twisted. Part of her wanted to forgive. Another part wanted them to feel what she once felt, abandonment. So, she stopped picking up their calls. Sometimes, she'd look at her phone and whisper, is greater than... Now you know what silence feels like. Months passed. Amelia and Nathan's relationship grew stronger. Genuine, respectful, full of peace. He proposed to her one calm evening by the sea. No crowds, no cameras, just two souls who had healed each other. When the wedding invitations were ready, Professor Williams said, is greater than you should give one to your old family. Closure is part of peace. Amelia hesitated, but deep down, she knew he was right. That weekend, Amelia walked up to the Thompson mansion, now older, quieter, lonelier. Margaret opened the door. Her hair was gray now, her eyes tired. When she saw Amelia standing there, she froze, then started crying. Is greater than Amelia. Oh my God, you came. Amelia didn't say much. She smiled gently and handed her a golden envelope. Is greater than, I came to give you this. Margaret opened it with trembling hands. It was a wedding invitation. Her eyes filled again with tears when she read the names. Amelia Grace Williams and Nathan Williams is greater than your getting married. Yes, Amelia said softly. To a man who calls me his home. David appeared from the living room, his face pale with shock. They both started begging, is greater than please forgive us. We were blind. We lost you because of our pride. Amelia's eyes glistened. Is greater than, you didn't lose me because of pride. You lost me because you forgot what love is. Margaret sobbed uncontrollably. Is greater than please, Amelia. Say you forgive us. Amelia stepped closer, tears now streaming down her face too. Is greater than, I forgave you long ago. But I also learned, love isn't something you take back when it's inconvenient. She hugged them both. For the first time in years, peace filled the house again. Not the kind that fixes the past, but the kind that finally lets go of it.